Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail here. Today we're working on a newer black GMC Sierra, and as you can see, this thing is heavily swirled, has a ton of scratches, a lot of imperfections to remove here. So we're going to remove them, and we're going to use a couple different combinations of compounds and polishes. We're going to keep this to a two-step. Even though this is a lot of damage here, we do not want to remove a ton of clear. This truck is just starting off its life. We want to leave it with as much clear as possible. I've been testing the Extreme Solutions products, and during testing some of the products, the latest, the car wash that I just showed, I noticed they have a lot of compounds and polishes. So we're going to go through them. We'll go through them together. We'll use some of those today. We'll use a couple different combinations. So I masked off a little area on the door here, and we're going to see how the first combination works out. The first combination I threw together is going to be their LVR305 Wondercut 1000. That is a hardworking cutting compound that will remove 1000 grit sandpaper marks. So let's start that off, and we'll team that up with the Lake Country Hybrid Wool Pad on the rotary. By the way, this clear coat has moderate hardness, so it's medium leaning towards hard. GMC used to be hard and stubborn, but the newer vehicles, I mean, GMC really losing respect when it comes to the newer vehicles that they pump out. I myself like to pick up and fix up older cars because I just don't think the newer stuff is worth it. It's junk. It's crap to me. So I'm going to throw as many of these correction videos together as I can, finding many different types of clear coat from hard. We already took care of a couple hard corrections. This is moderate, so it's medium. So it'll give you an idea if you get a car in, or you purchase a car and you want to work on it and it has a type of clear coat, you can revert back to these videos to see what types of pads, polishes, and compounds work with them or react to that clear, and that'll help you choose a combination when you want to do a little bit of correction or turn your car around or a customer's car. So it's a little bit of a library I'm putting together. You can put these in a playlist of your own. I'm also going to put them in a playlist. I'll just title it simply Corrections, and you can come back and sift through all the different types of clear coat till you find one of your liking. The little rotary polisher here, by the way, this is the M550. This is the smaller rotary from MaxShine. It's set between the 3rd and the 4th speed setting. We're just cruising along. As you can see where my left hand is, just my index finger and thumb are applying pressure to the polisher, which in turn is applying pressure to the pad and transferring energy from the polisher to the pad onto the panel. Not a whole lot of pressure there. I'm just kind of guiding it back and forth. You can see the motions are nice and smooth and fluid. I keep on moving. None of the herky-jerky motions you'll see in some of the videos. I like a nice even cut. You will hardly ever see me use any type of erratic movements or a mow-down method or whatever they want to call it. We all do things a little bit differently, but like I said, I like my panels to have a nice even cut from end to end. You can see here the compound, we were using the rotary, so it's not going to be perfectly clean. There was a little bit of splatter speckled over there, but not a whole lot of dust using this compound, which is a plus. It gives plenty of lubrication, the cycle or open time, which means that's the time that you can work the product as it breaks down before it starts to just dry up and flash. Then you'll really get some dust going there. But you can see the difference that it makes, a real turnaround with this compound. I'm impressed. Keep in mind, we just did a crisscross pattern. I know it took some time, and I will edit and speed up, me doing the correction without cutting away. But just a crisscross pattern, that only equals 2 passes, and we got rid of all those imperfections in those 2 passes. Now, it is still hazy because that's a cutting compound, and we're using a wool pad, so we'll move to the LVR Ice. Now, what that is like a glaze. It'll get rid of your hazing and bring back clarity after the cutting portion of the correction. It's the LVR 367 Ice, and it's blue in color. You could tape the ice up with a foam pad, a polishing microfiber pad. And I'm just going to team it up here with the 50/50 pad, knowing this is a moderate leaning towards hard clear coat. And you can finish down using such pads. You got to keep in mind, if you're working on a vehicle that has soft clear, you would have started out using that cutting compound with maybe just a white polishing pad, something that isn't very aggressive. I very rarely use a cutting compound on soft clear. I'll use like a one step or a medium or light cut, and I'll do the major portion of that correction with that and finish down with a fine polish. The ice here would probably be a good idea to start with on soft clear coat, just to see if it does remove all the imperfections. If it does, then stick with it. The least aggressive method necessary. Do a couple different test areas to see or find that least aggressive method, and then go with it, roll with it. You'll also notice we switched from the rotary to a dual action polisher. You could have stuck with the rotary. They finish down just as good or even better once you get to know the polisher. But for those of you that aren't quite comfortable just yet, you could switch over to a dual action polisher to finish between third and fourth speed setting. And as you can see, I just have, again, my thumb and index finger on top of the polisher applying pressure, just guiding it back and forth. That's all you're going to need. Something you want to keep in mind here, all we're doing is removing the hazing and bringing out clarity after the LVR 305 Wonder Cut. The heavy lifting or the heavy cutting portion is already done. All we're doing is just cleaning up a bit. So, we're not removing a ton of clear coat. Again, something barely measurable. All right, we'll remove this residue. I'll grab you guys, bring it closer into the panel so you can see the turnaround now that it's clear. There will be some things left behind. We're not chasing perfection. We're not chasing after scratches to take the clear so thin that years down the road it won't be able to protect from UVA, UVB anymore. So we're just doing a nice, even exfoliation around the truck to get rid of some of those swirls. And as you can see, we're doing just fine with a two-step combination that's not really very aggressive. Two things I'll quick mention for those of you new to the channel. We have a lot of new subscribers. A lot of our mainstays or regulars to the channel already know this because I mentioned it. But UVA, UVB protection in the clear coat, the UVA, UVB absorbers and refractors migrate to the top 15 or 20, 25 microns of the clear as the transfer solution that gets the color from the can to the panel has to gas and it has to evaporate. So it just naturally pushes that protection up towards the surface. Unfortunately, it should be throughout the clear coat. So we don't want to shave too far or we could possibly remove all of it. Another thing, UVA, UVB protection within the clear has a half-life of 5 years, meaning after every 5 years, its ability to be able to correct that gorgeous base coat is cut in half by 50%. So you could do the math on a 5, 10, 15-year-old car. Okay, I pulled out a similar combination from this line, the LVR 416 cutting 1500 and also the LVR 403 foam pad polish. This is a team that's similar, but both are less aggressive. So if we can get this to work, this would be the combination. You can go around the truck because it's even less aggressive and will remove less clear. So we'll team the LVR 416 cut 1500, and it's called 1500 because it will remove up to 1500 grit sand marks. We'll team that up with the same rotary and pad we used on the panel before. By the way, as you saw, that whole panel is now corrected and looking gorgeous. We're going to hop back here to the driver's side rear panel of the bed, and I masked off an area, and that's what we're going to correct now the exact same way. We'll see how this performs. Okay, that is going to do it. Let's remove the tape and wipe off that residue. I just wanted to show you that not a lot of dusting. We are using the rotary. And also, this seems to be just a little bit harder to remove the residue. It's a little bit more smeary, but no big deal. We do get it off, and you'll be able to see the turnaround that it makes on this panel here. And you're going to be able to see here that this did a good job as well, just leaving a little bit of hazing behind to clear up. That's no big deal. We can now break out the LVR 403. It does say foam pad polish, but I can tell you, I did test it on other pads besides foam, and it works well fine with the 50/50 pad here and also microfiber polishing pads. But we'll break out the DA once again with the Eurofiber pad, and we'll put the 403 on there and see how it clears up the correction marks from the 416. Again, all the heavy lifting is done. We just need to bring out some clarity from the panel now. That should do it. Let me get rid of the residue, and I'll grab the camera, bring you guys closer to the panel so you can see the turnaround now that things are cleared up a bit. That combination works, and since it's less aggressive, that's what we're going to use to finish the whole thing. And that's exactly what I did here. I went around the whole truck, removed all of those love marks, swirls, scratches, without taking the clear down too far. And I think it looks gorgeous again. It's ready to hit the road. We didn't take it down too far where within 2 or 3 years it's not going to have any UVA, UVB protection. So we have two combinations that I showed you there that will work on moderate clear coat with that type of a pad and those type of polishers. Something you can revert to in case you run into a situation just like this. This here is right after correction. We still have to wash it and protect it as well. If you're liking the content from the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell.